Have you ever said to yourself, holy crap, how'd they do that? On this podcast, we talk with and about people doing amazing things they never thought possible. Let's go. We're back and we're talking with our friend Craig Richard today. And Craig had the amazing opportunity to do something that very few people have an opportunity to do. In fact, 20 years ago, nobody had the opportunity to do reality television.
No.
Because there was no such thing as reality television. But this is American Ninja Warrior is almost a game show-ish like thing. So I'll have to have Craig explain that. But he had a great opportunity to be a national finalist, semi-finalist.
National finalist.
Yeah. So tell us about not only the experience, what made you want to get involved in this, and then how the heck do you prepare for it?
Sure. Well, American Ninja Warrior is it's a TV show on NBC, and it really is a sport these days. Of course, the TV show is a reality TV program with backstories and things like that. But it's a very, very difficult course that requires extreme athleticism, somewhere between, I would say, gymnastics and parkour. And yeah. Well, I've been rock climbing my whole life, and that's what got me interested. My cousin just said she loved this TV show and that I should try out for it. So I sent in a submission video, and they thought it'd be great. And they chose me, and I showed up. And for 2 years, I was one of the top competitors in this thing.
How many times were you on it?
I was on the 2016 and 2017 seasons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so it's a highly physical. I've watched it several times. It's highly physical, to say the least. It's a misnomer because you think ninja, you think you're fighting, but you're fighting against yourself and against a clock, right?
Yeah.
And it's all different kind of challenges. I don't know what the names of some of the stuff is. Maybe you can explain some of that. But the one where you're holding a pull-up bar, basically, or chin-up bar, and you have to let go of it and raise up about 6 inches to lock in again, and then you have to do that all the way up a wall to get you to the next level, because it's almost like the mouse trap, right? Like that you're going against all these different things, working your way through this obstacle course.
Sure. Yeah, that's called the salmon ladder. That's my favorite obstacle. I think the ninja part of it comes from its origin. It was a Japanese program called Sasuke. And so the ninja is just a reference to the Japanese part of the culture. And also that ninjas are very good at being nimble and jumping from thing to thing, like they're going to climb a building type thing.
Well, I can see why that one would be your favorite, because that you would very much use that rock climbing, because you're dangling by your arms a good deal of time, and you're having to reach and grab your hooks and latches and all your rock climbing gear and the ropes and everything. And so what was your other favorite?
Oh, gosh. I like the obstacles where you have to run across things that move. You know, you have to be extremely nimble or you go crashing into a pool of water. Yeah,
Go ahead.
Well, there's an obstacle in the Las Vegas, the Denver finals, called the spinning dice. They have these giant blocks that were squares, and they spin on a big pole. And if you stood on one for any more than a split second, it spun and you would fall into the water. So you had to run across this line of them just so fast that you barely even touched them at all. That was fun.
So how do you train for something like that?
Different people in the sport have different techniques. For me, I just really fell in love with jungle gyms, actually. I've been traveling, for the last 13 years. One of the consistent places I can work out is on jungle gyms, which are in every country all around the world. And they've got a lot of things to work with grip strength and swinging and jumping and all kinds of stuff. So that's been kind of one of my main training apparatuses. And then the running aspect, I got into trail running, which keeps you very, very focused on where you're stepping and how you're shifting your weight. So that's fun too. Yeah.
So what's the most challenging part of preparing and participating in something like American Ninja?
I would say that one of the reasons climbers lend well to the sport is grip strength. So in terms of preparing, literally just training your forearms to be able to hold on with just your fingertips for sometimes minutes is one of the best things you can train to do. Actually being on the TV show itself is a real challenge for a couple of reasons. Number one, you don't ever get to try the course until it's your time to go. You get to see it once, and then you have to make up in your mind how you're going to do something, because most of the obstacles are brand new and nobody's ever seen them before.
So unlike when they run the race at Daytona, not only do most racetracks look a lot alike, and I know race fans are going to be mad at me and say, "Oh, they're all different," but they warm up and they practice and they do trial runs ahead of time. And a football team goes out and they warm up on the field that they're playing on. They get there a few days early and acclimate to the weather. You have to run it cold.
That's right. Yeah, it's very unique in that sense that you can only train to what you think you may be facing. But when you actually get there, it's all in your mind and how you're going to use your body in that one moment you get to make it through something. It's very unique in that way. And then also just the aspect of being on a television show when you're training, you're all by yourself. And then all of a sudden you've got 7 big cameras on you, the television lights, you got producers watching you, and you've got an audience watching you. So this added aspect of being hyper focused on only the course is an extreme challenge.
Not like you can reach out and say, "Hi, Mom."
Like you can, but
Get on your way down the into the pool.
So Craig, is this all live?
it is. Yeah. When you do your run, that's recorded live, and that's your one shot.
Otherwise, they could splice the tape and, take the first half of one run, second half of another, and fix it, right? And of course, here's a question that Pat was wondering about, but he's too shy to say it on the air. He says, aren't all these reality shows scripted?
Well, that's a good question. And the answer is yes and no. American Ninja Warrior is unique because the running of the course by nature cannot be scripted.
Right.
It's what you see.
You lose this time.
Yeah. Oh, so it's not like wrestling. Oh, sorry, guys. I have some good wrestling friends out there.
There are aspects of it, like any mainstream TV show, where they're trying to really amp up the drama. So they want to focus on doing backstories of people that have great stories for different reasons. And also, if there's little snafus, they have to refilm sometimes. Like the interviewer messed up her words when she went to interview me after I got off the course. And she said, "Oh, cut. Sorry, would you take 20 steps back and pretend like you just came off the course?" It's like, okay, so this is a TV show. Got it.
But when you're in the middle of the run, or when you're in the run, nothing's scripted.
You're hoping they yell "cut" in the middle of your failure so you can do over again and say "cut."
Yeah. So it is unique in that way. I mean, like any television reality show, they want to make it very interesting and compelling and dramatic, and that stuff is scripted a bit. But the actual athletic run is pure, which I do love.
So do you have hopes of getting on any of these other shows?
I thought about trying out for things like Survivor. I feel like I've kind of had the reality TV experience, to be honest. I also was considered for America's Got Talent, and did very well in my audition. It's I think they can be a really fun experience, but they can be very the same in a lot of ways. Television is television. I'm sorry to say. And
I was in the running for America's Got Talent. No, Doc, no, I'm serious. Yeah, they were looking for a parking attendant, and I was this close, this close.
Sorry you didn't
Okay,
make
for our audience, they should know by now, don't ever believe Pat when he comes out with some of these major claims, because it's like, you know, the rim shot's coming up real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, the continuation of my athleticism is it's mostly in rock climbing, but I'm always open to trying new things. In terms of the TV show American Ninja Warrior, I feel really grateful to have done it for a couple of seasons, and I feel like I had the experience and it was enough.
So what happened that you didn't win? I mean, you came close, right?
Well, I was a national finalist, which means that there's 3 stages. There's a city qualifier, a city finals, and the national finals. And I was a top finisher in the first 2 stages. In Las Vegas in the national finals, I was the very last person to run. So I was 120th of 120 people. It was, they filmed in Las Vegas in August. It was 115 degrees at night.
I was gonna say it's pretty cool out in Vegas in August. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. I can see kicking that.
So I had to wait until 5 o'clock in the morning to run, and I just gassed. I had no chance at being an athlete in that moment. So I only made maybe 4 obstacles that night. It's okay, you know.
But you know, we were talking about the heat. It's a dry heat though.
Right. And so is the sun.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know, when I've been in Vegas and it's been 110, 112, it's really like walking into a blast furnace, you know?
Sure.
And I can't imagine being in that heat at 5 o'clock in the morning and trying to do what you were doing. And it's like,
it was kind of an unlucky draw, but I was grateful to be there for the experience. And my family came, my friends came, and had a free hotel. And, you know, it was a great opportunity. It's a good time.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, Craig, because, you know, this is part of our segment of, you know, holy crap, how'd they do that? And so, you know, you were a national finalist for American Ninja Warrior, and then in the running for America's Got Talent. So you put yourself out there.
Sure.
And what advice would you give to folks? I mean, other than the Nike commercial, just do it. What would you say to our listeners or our viewers?
Yeah, well, you remind me of a quote my best friend Nick says all the time. He says, "Try and be a player and not a spectator." And you know, I think we love to watch other people do things, and if that feels like where we want to sit, that's okay. But I personally feel like I came into this life to get out there and try things for myself. So my advice would be, if something sparks your interest, what do you have to lose? You know, at least give it a shot.
so Craig, our audience, we appeal to leaders in real estate, sales, and on business, entrepreneurship. We challenge them to think bigger and reach higher. What tip would you give them for working, let's just say in sales, and pivoting their thinking to take it to the level that you've done?
Well, I guess what comes up for me is paying attention to what intimidates me, and just challenging myself to see what I'm really capable of doing.
So you see the obstacle or the fear as the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that. I like the way you put that too. And so many times we see the roadblock. We don't see the road around. We just did an episode on a tunnel that they're doing in Norway, and a highway tunnel. You know, because you can go over a mountain, you can go around a mountain, or you can go under the mountain. And this was the most aesthetic acetone. Yeah. And but we see obstacles instead of seeing opportunities. I love that way of thinking, because it really does, at the end of the day, comes down to mindset and getting yourself prepared for.
Well, and speaking of Vegas, that's where Elon Musk's company is building the tunnels underneath and putting them so that they can alleviate some of the traffic down the strip and the rest of the city. Other areas they're looking at. My son lives out in Seattle, and they're talking about, for some of the islands, they're looking at the feasibility of drilling underneath the Puget Sound. It's just all kinds of things where we look at that. And so it's like, instead of seeing it as, oh no, what am I going to do? Saying, hey, how can I look at this and see it as an opportunity? I love that.
Well, what do we always say about the impossible? Why is it impossible?
Well, it's only impossible because we haven't yet got the resources. And
Sure.
once we have the resources, and that's why, once you break, like in running, once they broke the 4-minute mile, it was like broke through a mental barrier.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, other people start doing it.
Mhm.
And it's crazy good.
Well, Craig, we want to thank you. We want to wish you the greatest of luck in the next adventure in your life. We can't wait to get back in touch and
To find out.
chat of what's next. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's just like one guy knew that he went on to become a lawyer, and he got tired of that, so he went in to be a med school and be a doctor, and it's like, okay, I give up.
Yeah, just keep following our bliss.
That's it. Follow your bliss. If you do that, you'll never work an unhappy day.
Thank you for tuning in. You can engage with us all over social media. Be sure to like, follow, share, or subscribe wherever you're tuned in. And don't forget to leave a review. Until next time,